Any better words than that? Any
No.
better words than a long, long sigh? I mean, it's in the title. Um, I, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, the entire game, it was very obvious. I see a lot of people talking about Alejandro Villanueva, and obviously, yes, he did not play well. He did not play well. But the problem with the Ravens was the play calling because it was very obvious from the jump. It wasn't like, oh, late in the game, the play, like, the defensive line started really getting to Lamar. No, the game started off and the Ravens offensive line was getting destroyed. And Greg Roman just never put it into his mind. Get Lamar out of the pocket. He did it a couple of times. But all he needs to do is get Lamar out of the pocket so he at least has some time. It's the whole problem. How do you sack Lamar? You collapse the pocket. That's the only way. If one edge rusher gets by, you're not going to be able to go out there and be able to sack him. It's not going to happen. However, if you collapse the pocket, boom, it's rough, and he can't escape and things like that. And that's what we saw with the sack. That's what we saw with every sack. Was the line collapses, boom, he can't get out.
Yeah.
Move Lamar outside of the pocket, and they absolutely did not do it. And that was the biggest problem that I saw all game. And I see people saying you call cover 0. Wink be an idiot. I did not like Wink's calling of this entire game. I was actually very disappointed. I, however, support the cover 0 blitz, though. I support that. The Raiders kicker kicked a 55-yard field goal to send the game into overtime. They were at a 48, 49-yard field goal. He most likely would have hit it. So they said, you know what? They're in field goal range. Our best chance is to get a sack. That was the entire plan. So I'm okay with that. My issue was they weren't blitzing enough. It felt like they did not blitz. They started blitzing at the end of the game when they're at the 1 yard and they're like, oh, we got to blitz. And they were doing it, and that's what was working because they were able to get after the quarterback. But the problem was that they weren't blitzing, and they were just they were forcing Westry, they were forcing Averett, they were forcing Brandon Stevens in coverage to stay in coverage for a while because there wasn't a pass rush, which we didn't expect there to be some crazy pass rush unless they blitzed. And we didn't. And I like what Troy said. We blitzed too often on third and not. Yeah, we did not blitz early down. And I was surprised by that.
I just don't understand why we were playing so much zone coverage, even to get the game started. I mean, I know, it's like a boxing match. You got to fill your opponent out. But at the same time, let's stay true to our identity. It's Monday Night Football. We're under the lights. Let's play Ravens football. That means smash mouth, hard hitting football from the offensive side to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Brandon Stevens, I give him his respect for the simple fact that he, yes, he got worked. He got that rookie work, but he's going to learn from this. He's going to be this ain't going to discourage him. This is going to make him better. And then Edwards came alive when they needed him and Winfrey. So,
and one of the biggest problems that I was seeing
mm-hmm.
was, in addition to the play calling, it was pretty rough on the play calling. But why? I felt Tyson Williams was playing well. Where did he go?
It sounded like whatever. It sounded like old school hardball back into the doghouse for whatever reason. They didn't have a better chance with Latavius Murray, in my opinion.
I don't know why. Like Latavius Murray, his touchdown run was nice, but it just didn't seem like. It didn't seem like it was like, oh, he's playing way better. I felt like Tyson Williams was playing very well.
He was running on a different type of motor, for sure.
And I see people saying like he lacked blocking. We need him to run the ball. We never were putting him in to run the ball. And like he did a good job catching the ball. I don't think he dropped a pass. Speaking of drops, I know a lot of people are getting on Mark Andrews. That was an unfortunate drop from him. That was one of the biggest things that we talked about. That was one of the reasons why I talked about possibly not giving him the money yet, was just because he needs to prove that in big games.
I said it. He's always
catches it.
At best, he's a top 5, and in the rankings, he listed at number 5. Until he showed me he can come alive in the big games, He's going to be, that mid top 10 tight end.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things. And he wasn't getting utilized. I will say I felt like Hollywood played a very solid game. I'm actually going to pull up the stats right now. I don't have the stats up, just so I can see. And shout out to Shamil Malik for the super chat. Says Mitch Schwartz is out there. Can't have this for LJ. Former Chief. I'm not against that. I don't know his situation. I don't know if it's something where he doesn't really want to play. I believe he's coming off. I believe he got hurt. So I don't know if he'd be able to play this year. I'm not 100% sure on what his injury was. I know him and Eric Fisher were both dealing with kind of major injuries, but that's just very tough to see. But I don't know. What do you think? Is it time to panic at the right tackle spot? Is it time? Or do we think, you know what? First time playing right tackle probably in the NFL, it's a little bit of rust, or is it like that was so bad we got to move on?
Just seeing the way the Villanueva played, I know for sure Kansas City's going to line Jones up on Villanueva all Sunday night, just so you can have fun with him.
Yeah.
If I'm a defensive coordinator, I say, damn, I'm playing the Ravens. I'm playing the Ravens this upcoming week. Hey, Aaron Donald, you're not lining the inside this week. I'm putting you on the outside, and you got Villanueva all night. Hey, Khalil, you going to come over to this right side. You going to work out Villanueva. Shit, Von Miller, can you play? Come on, I'm gonna put you on this right side. I'm gonna let you work out on Villanueva. The Watt brothers, the Bosas. It can go on. If I see a weakness, a chink in the armor, I'm gonna go for it. So I think that's what exactly Kansas City is gonna do. And honestly, if Lamar Jackson keeps staying in the pocket like tonight, he ain't gonna make it for the rest of the season because you get hurt the most staying in the pocket. And I understand he want to become one of the next prolific passers in the NFL. I want that for him. I would love that for him. But at the end of the day, stay true to your game, play your game. And it was a lot of throws, man.
I mean, how many times do we see Lamar have to escape? I mean, the Raiders could have had 7-8 sacks tonight, but Lamar being able to escape allowed it so that how many did the Raiders end up having? That's what I got to see. They only had 3. He was pressured all game. And that's one of the biggest problems was that they, Void saying to fire Greg Roman, roll him out. And at least, yes, that shrinks the field a little bit if you roll him out.
But if we have a weak offensive line, let's run play action. Let's give my QB a fighting chance, and let's open it up some more. Let's stay true to our running game because Tyshawn was really going. I feel like he could have had 150, 200 yards tonight. 100%. If they would have fed him the ball more.
That's just the biggest thing is I don't know why, but the Ravens didn't play like the Ravens. They didn't blitz as much as they normally do. And then when it came to they had some poor offensive play calls. I was also waiting for the deep ball all game. I don't know why they didn't try and utilize that earlier. Shout out to Lamar and Sammy. They got that nice connection. Very good play. For that post route. I like that. That was good. It wasn't all bad. We can't look at it and be like, oh, Greg Roman is terrible. It was a badly called game, but there were some play calls where I felt like, you know what, that was good. Bad play call I'll bring up. The 4th and 1. They run the ball up the middle. Now, this was the Latavius Murray one, not the one that they scored on. The problem with it was I'm okay with running the ball up the middle. Lamar Jackson has to be involved. Have it be a read option. Because it was so clear right when he snapped that ball, that guy was right up the gap. And that's when Lamar would recognize that and say, oh, you know what? I need to keep this. But because he had his back turned, because it wasn't a read option play, he was unable to see that, and they were unable to get the Lamar Jackson open play. The left side of the field was wide open, and that was the biggest thing was utilize Lamar Jackson more. And you don't have to run it with him. It just has to be hey, If Lamar's outside the pocket, the defense gets hesitant. Do that. Get him outside the pocket.
Right.
Get Lamar moving. Get Lamar in the read option, because if you're running read option, it's scarier to the defense because they realize, oh no, we got to cover. And I believe it was Max Crosby made a great play on a read option play to Lamar and Tyson.
Definitely give it to Max Crosby. He was playing lights out tonight. I gotta give dude props. But you know what? One thing we not speaking on enough is supposed to have been our Super Bowl stellar defense. I'm gonna say this: it was good to have Tavon Young play a full game, but you can tell, he's been out the game for a while. To put him on a slot receiver like Winfro, they was having a field day. Like I said, said earlier with Brandon Stevens, yeah, they obviously see potential, but putting a rookie on, like a Henry Ruggs, Edwards, and and even Darren Waller, it's like you got to pick your poison.
Yeah, I will say, on the positive side, Odafe Oweh played very well.
Yeah.
Very well that he played. He was the reason why the Ravens got that turnover at the end of the game. He leveled Derek Carr. He was right in his face. He threw it a little bit too hard, tiny bit high. Obviously, it bounced off Willie Snead head. It was still catchable, but he got in that and was able to at least help disrupt that play. And that was something that was big. Obviously, you got the sack that forced them to kick the field goal. And just, that was massive. So that's something that we can take as a positive. But, like, overall, it was just very unfortunate by just, I don't know. I think we really felt, I don't even think it was feeling the loss of Marcus Peters. Obviously, that's a loss. But Jimmy Smith also not being able to be out there,
I think that was a huge loss because, I feel like Jimmy Smith would have definitely been on Darren Waller and kept him a little bit more limited. I mean, granted, Darren Waller is a little is definitely faster than him because, that he does have youth, but Jimmy Smith still has technique and skill. He would have been able to, keep him limited, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's just,
and then you running Marlon ragged. You switching them off to different guys. Like, yo, I know he's supposed to be that top tier corner, but at some point you gotta you have to lock him on somebody, and everybody else have to step up and do their job.
I think the other biggest thing is just Chris Westry showed us a very unfortunate problem that he has. He had good coverage a lot of the time. However,
he plays the wide receiver.
Same problem as Anthony Averett. The ball skills. That ball is in the air. Yeah. He doesn't seem to make plays, and that is not something that we can have. We cannot have guys where they are just, the ball is in the air and he doesn't. He had the wide open interception that he should have had in the first half, I want to say it was. And they may have scored on that drive. I can't really remember. I just remember it went right through his hand. He was just like, you got to catch that. And then obviously the play at the end of the game, Chris Westry's on him. And, he's unable to get that just because he jumps up and he's not able to make the play on the football. He just doesn't recognize that ball in the air. He had good coverage, but him and Anthony Averett just have the same problem.
Yeah.
When the ball is in the air, they aren't there. And that interception was handed to him and it went right through his hands. It's just something that we have to look at. But the benefit is, it is week 1. And I know we play Kansas City next week. Very, very tough game. But you just have to learn, figure out what's wrong, adapt, and take it through the rest of the season. Because there were a lot of good teams that did not look good week 1. The Titans didn't look good. Why weren't the Titans good? Oh, because Tannehill and Julio couldn't get going. Why couldn't they get going? They didn't have the reps together. The Ravens offensive line, guys, remember, this was their first time ever playing next to every single other person on this line. None of them had ever played together.
And you know what hurt too? That Tyree Phillips injury. I definitely hope for a speedy recovery on it. Now I hope it's not another season and the injury as well, because he definitely played some good minutes tonight.
Absolutely. I felt like he played solid. It just comes down to just whether or not the Ravens are going to make changes, because that's been the entire problem. The only person who's made changes has been hasn't
Who?
been Harbaugh, hasn't been Rowan, hasn't been Wink. It's been Eric DeCosta. He's the only person that recognizes the problem and tries to make changes.
Yep.
And that makes me scared for the fact that there's a chance that they look at that and say, and he says, you guys aren't changing anything. He has the power to fire the coaches. And I don't want Harbaugh fired. I do not want Harbaugh fired. But if Eric DeCosta is the only person that will make a change, because remember, the 14-2 season, what happened? The Ravens secondary was struggling. And so he goes, you know what? We need a corner. Let's go get him. The Ravens needed pass rush last year. Well, I guess nobody else is doing it. He's trying to blitz. Wink's trying to blitz and stuff. What do? Get Yannick. Does it work out every time? No, it does not work out every time. But at the same time, at least he's trying. We rarely see Greg Roman try new things. And unfortunately, we saw the same usage of Devin Duvernay that we've seen his entire career, which is completely incorrect. He's a slot wide receiver, and they try and use him as somebody that goes either deep or as a gadget guy. And he's not a good deep threat. He's fast, but he's fast with the ball in his hands. I don't understand why the Ravens always they're like, oh, it's one-on-one with Duvernay. Let's throw it up. No, do that with Hollywood. He can turn on the burners. Do it with Sammy. He can turn on the burners. Do it with Prochet. At least he can go up and get it. Duvernay has not proven that he can do any of those things. And that is the major issue. And Howard talks about how big the defense struggled. Yeah. Because they weren't blitzing and they were allowing Derek Carr, because they couldn't get pressure, to go out and just say, cover these guys and they have good route runners. Hunter Renfrow was a very solid route runner. Obviously,
almost remind me of that playoff game with the Bills. Almost.
Yeah. And it's just one of those situations where the Ravens were not playing the normal way that normally they blitz a ton. And it seemed like they were scared to blitz, and I don't understand why, because Carr was struggling with pressure. No, obviously that last throw was a great throw. That was similar to kind of how Patrick Mahomes, and people are talking about oh, Carr sucks. Carr has arm talent. Carr hasn't had wide receivers since Amari and Crabtree, and he's actually pretty solid with them. So I'm a fan of Derek Carr. I actually think he's pretty underrated. I don't think he's top 10. I think he's just outside that, maybe in that top 12, 13 range, but it's just one of those major issues that the Ravens have. And it's the biggest weakness we saw was they can't get pass rush. And as great as Adolphe played, he wasn't getting pass rush. He broke off when Carr scrambled, took off and got him. And then he was unblocked on another play on a blitz where Carr fumbled the snap. And he was able to get there and tackle him. So it wasn't a situation where it's oh, he was beating him. The only time we had a pass rush win was Justin Houston. Once.
And he was playing subpar, honestly.
Yeah.
It was, man. I mean, it's week 1. Should we panic? I want to say yeah, then I want to say no. Kind of 50-50. I'm more, my thing is I'm more worried about that, interior as far as the offense and the defensive line. Offense has got to protect Lamar and give him more time in that back, and open up them holes more for our running backs. Got to keep my guy clean. And defense, we got to continue to work on generating a pass rush. Something I did see tonight was Jalen Ferguson getting a lot of snaps, and it was mostly on the runs, but sometimes with him out there on the pass, it's what are we doing, my dude?
Yeah, and I see Dalen Hayes was inactive for this game. So we definitely felt, I think that Jimmy Smith is going to be a key part of this defense. So him not being active, it hurts so much. Yeah. It really hurt. It forced, Brandon Stevens was in tough situations. That guy is not, he's not ready to take on these roles of, go out there and cover Waller. He's not there. He's not even close to being there. And that's just something that is very unfortunate, was just that they just didn't have the players, and they weren't using the players.
Absolutely.
But
And I hope this never happens again with us having a 14-0 lead and giving it up. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that style of Raven play. Usually when we up, we stay up. you know. I mean, it was good to see us battle.
and who was the running back running the football when we were up?
Tyshawn.
Oh, where did he go?
I'm trying to tell you.
I swear we didn't see him until basically like the last play of the last drive of the game, and then he got like one snap, and then they were like, "All right, get back in here."
That takes away from a guy's momentum, man. Like he was earning his keep on the field, honestly.
Absolutely. And so I'm trying to look through the thing, and I know Sammy had the drop. It wasn't, it would have been a difficult throw. It was very catchable.
Yeah.
Still hit him in the hands, but
some of the throws when Lamar definitely was off. I mean, he was getting it out there. He was zipping it. I'll give him that. But he put too much zip on it and overthrew. Because even with Tyshawn on the flat, I mean, that could have been 10 yards. Easy.
Yeah, it's just a.
But you know what? I'd rather have these hiccups and these mistakes early now. I mean,
That's very true.
We talked about it, and I do feel like we have really no other route to go other than up. If they really want to go to the playoffs, if they really want to go to the Super Bowl, something has got to change. They got to make adjustments. They got to adapt. They got to see what's going to really work out for us as a team. I mean, yes, we get Rashad Bateman back. Week 3, week 5.
I think probably week 5 we get Bateman, which is a massive boost.
So I mean, even he got to get the feel and get his legs under him and things of that nature. I mean, don't expect no big crazy game like Justin Jefferson, but he is going to definitely produce. So I mean, yeah, I'm pissed just like the rest of y'all. But I gotta take everything and look at the ups, look at the downs. Nah, absolutely. I'm definitely focused on that.
And I think we need to realize we should have lost by a lot more than it was. The Raiders did not play that well offensively. How many drops did Waller have? How many times did Raiders receivers be wide open and hit in the hands and drop it? I mean, those are situations where, like, yeah, we look back and it's like, yeah, they had a lot of yards. They should have had a lot more. They should have scored a lot more. It was not a situation where we go, oh, wow, I guess we held them. We had some good stops. No, they had the penalty called on the offensive pass interference on I think it was a really good play call. It was a light offensive pass interference call. I think it still was PI. The guy tripped. I think it was Marlon. I'm trying to remember who exactly it was. But
Henry Ruggs?
Yeah. And
Averett. I think it was Averett.
Oh, was it Averett? Yeah, I just was like, I was watching it and I was like, that guy just tripped and they were covering Waller, but Waller got the first down there. And like, they had some bad miscues. Alex Leatherwood in his first NFL game had a couple of really big penalties that really hurt them. And like, those are the things where we need to focus on and look at and say, you know what? It should have been a lot worse. The problem, the issue was offensively, they could not, block, and they didn't use the strategies that many teams do, because I don't know if they watch Sunday Night Football, but Matthew Stafford snaps the ball, fakes the handoff, rolls out to the left and the right, and sees a guy on a deep post wide open down the field and hits him. He hits him. They don't utilize that ever. That is one of the biggest problems with the Ravens offense, is that they don't utilize the play action game enough because everybody's so afraid of it. Use it. Allow Lamar to be in open space already and use and just hit guys.
Honestly, if you give Lamar Jackson play action plays, man, it's going to take it's going to help his career so much as a passer. It's going to free his defenders so much. that he can be more relaxed. He doesn't always have to worry about running for his life.
Shmil's got it. shout out to y'all in here.
Actually,
I mean, there's just so much stuff to talk about.
Honestly, y'all keep on saying about fire G-Ro. If you fire G-Ro, you gotta fire Harbaugh. That's the deal. For the simple,
Harbaugh doesn't fire his guys.
But that's what I'm saying. You had to fire Harbaugh and G-Ro together. Like, I would not mind having Wink as my head coach.
Yeah. And Jimmy, just quickly. So yes, we utilize the play action. What I'm trying to get is the play action boots and getting him outside the pocket more. It is more the play action type plays that I am talking about. But I think you're correct. But that was a pure pocket play that the Ravens utilized. Lamar had to stay in the pocket. There's a very good chance that play didn't work because the pocket could have collapsed. I mean, I want to say 60% of the time, the pocket collapsed on Lamar Jackson relatively quickly in this game. And that's something that you have to recognize and do something about. We have to do something about it, and they don't. And they're going to look at this game and say, like, oh, wow, we put up good points. Yeah, because Lamar Jackson had to bail out so many times. How many situations was it where, Lamar stay in the pocket, and then he goes, whoop, 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 slide to the right. Like, look at the touchdown pass. I mean, that was something where he was having to struggle, and it took a very long time. I read it was like the 5th longest time it took a pass to be made that was scored as a touchdown in like the last 5 years. And I will say there's a chance that Ronnie Stanley, I'm not as worried about Ronnie Stanley just because it's his first game back. Right. He had a massive injury. Like, I think one of the biggest things is Villanueva, maybe Max Crosby. Max Crosby leads all edge rushers in sacks since he was drafted of all the guys, and he came in the class with Bosa. He had more sacks than Bosa his rookie year. Like he's good. He's good. Like he is a good pass rusher. I want to say he's like 19 sacks in the last 2 years, but maybe there's a chance his skill set just really works. I'm not like expecting that, but I see Gracie says, where was Cleveland? Cleveland was out for the game. He could not play. He was inactive. Shout out to Simi. Says Alejandro got to go. He is done.
I definitely feel like, at the night, like I said, if I'm a defensive coordinator every week, Villanueva starting for the Ravens. Let me put my best D in on this side. Let me put my best D tackle on that side. Hey man, go to work, and I'm gonna have y'all blitz stunt right here, and I'm gonna have you play spy.
Yeah, what happened early in the game? Crosby was on Stanley. He wasn't getting any pressure on Stanley. And then all of a sudden, the next drive, he switches over and he's on Villanueva. And it was like, oh, no.
Right.
Oh, no. And he was getting by him all day long. Somehow he only had like 2 sacks. But
and the funny thing is, we would give Villanueva a pass if we won. Just like they gave Orlando Brown Jr. a pass in Kansas City, because Myles Garrett had his number all dang on day, all day. But because Kansas City won, we're gonna let them live. Nah, man, they both played terrible.
Like that was one of those things that's just, and they were doing things early that I loved, that I recognized, and I saw Pernell McPhee at the beginning of the game. Right when they snapped that ball, throw the shoulder into Waller.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't seeing that as much.
He was going free, wasn't he? Just about.
Yeah. And at the end of the game, it was like, he's not really getting chipped anymore. They're not chucking him. Do that. Like, that's the thing is that's one of the biggest things. What did we say when we were on Spotlight Raider Talk? Hopefully they invite us back. They said that they wanted to do a show. Mm-hmm. Shout out to those guys. We underestimated the Raiders, but one of those biggest things is just Darren Waller was our key to the game. We talked about it before the game, and somebody in the chat said, "Oh, Darren Waller is not the biggest problem." No, Darren Waller was the problem.
We told y'all
because
tight ends taking over this
I
first
mean,
week 1.
he only had 10 receptions. He should have had 15. And shout out to MN says thank you so much for the super chat donation. Says Mahomes will fire Lamar in the playoffs 100% of the time, or burn Lamar in the playoffs 100% of the time. So what is the point? We need a new QB that can throw as well as run.
Whoa there, man.
I think we need a system that allows the quarterback. Lamar couldn't throw today because he wasn't.
The man wasn't protected. He didn't have no time.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this. Lamar didn't play well. Lamar had the first fumble, Lamar's fault. 100% Lamar's fault. He missed Tyson Williams on that check down. That was the worst throw I saw all game. He overthrew Mark Andrews, fingertip overthrow. Those are, I think, the only bad throws that I can think of that he made, and like bad decisions. But like he didn't play that well. I don't want to like be like, oh no, don't get rid of like he didn't play that well. But we need to have an offense that is able to utilize what he's best at. Read option, which I understand kind of why it wasn't used. Lamar probably has taken how many snaps with Tyson Williams in read option situations in practice? Right. Very few. Next to 0 with Latavius Murray and Trenton Cannon. So it's not like something where the only guy, like they don't have a lot of experience doing that. So that's another thing that we can look at and say, you know what? The rushing attack and stuff like that will be better. It will be better. We just have to get those guys those reps with Lamar, because we saw the fumble on the read option early in the game with Tyson. That's maybe one of the reasons why he was out. But it was like, I mean, these guys don't do it anymore. Like they don't really practice it. Tyson Williams was a practice squad running back. He was running with like Tyler Huntley.
Right.
He's running with Trace McSorley. He wasn't running with Lamar. So just get the system that can utilize Lamar and utilize just take away the weakness. What was the Ravens' weakness today? Blocking. If you don't have a good line, what do? Get the quarterback away from the line. And that doesn't work as well if you've got, a Brady, if you have, kind of, a Kirk Cousins, a kind of more of the not somebody that's just going to be able to sprint out of there. Lamar Jackson runs a bootleg. Nobody is catching him, trying to get to that outside. So it's something that he can still do. Utilize it. No, and he only ever utilizes it on like 3rd and 7. Then he'll be like, "Oh, bootleg Lamar." That's his his go-to. Where's the 2nd and 3 bootleg Lamar? Where's that? Like the deep shots. You gotta
keep the teams honest. At whatever down, it doesn't matter. Just keep the teams honest. Hell,
yes.
Run the boot off the first. Like, come on, man.
And then thank you so much, Simi, for another super chat. It says we need to talk to Mark dropping the ball when we need it.
Oh no, we speak on that. We said this. Mark is top 10. He's mid-tier, 5 at best. Until he showed he can really play in the big games and catch the contested balls and hold on to the ball. He's literally mid-tier. He's a mid-tier top 10 tight end.
My issue, I talked about this. Y'all got really mad at me when one of the original videos we made a video on should the Ravens trade Mark Andrews. And I was like, and I've talked about Mark Andrews contracts before, and I've said, like, I'm hesitant to pay him a ton of money because he's yet to prove that he can make those big catches. Oh, I don't know why that disappeared. But he's yet to prove that he can make those big receptions. And giving him that money now, if he's not going to step up and make those catches, because, like, sometimes if a guy, like, he drops it, like, we'll bag on him. Like, Mark Andrews has dropped some passes where it's like, that would have been a tough catch.
Mm-hmm.
His drop was, that should be caught every time. I mean, you are a tight end in the NFL. If you're over the middle of the field and open and catch it, and about 1 second later you get hit, hold on to that football. And that was the play before the fumble. And I'm not saying that cost us the game or anything like that. I know people are thinking that, but I don't think it really did. You can never predict. Maybe they call the same play the next time and they get the sack anyway. So we can't like live on that. It's like, oh, it cost us the game. It's just a momentum killer. And dropping those types of passes really kills drives. Getting holdings kills drives. You have to minimize mistakes. Another big mistake, Devin Duvernay on the punt. went right off his chest. Luckily, he recovered it, so they weren't, the Ravens weren't killed by it. But minimize mistakes, and that's how what does Bill Belichick say? Do your job. That's what Brady says as well. Do your job. If you make mistakes, it's going to be very hard to win football games. And the Ravens made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes.
Whoa, McConnell. Whoa. Kevin Lopez. Don't say that. Trade our boy to Washington? Like, is Lamar really the problem here? I see a guy that's just trying to win games for his team. Yeah, he made mistakes. And usually, when you got somebody that's trying to put all that pressure on them, they're going to mess up. Simple as that.
Yeah. I don't think this isn't on any one person. This was a whole team struggle. The only guys that played well, I would say, would be, I think, Hollywood. Round of applause for Hollywood. Played solid.
Yeah, he definitely showed out. I love that.
On the defense, Calais. I liked Calais' play. He played well. Round of applause for Calais.
Factual.
Adafe, I think he did what the Ravens expected him to do. If he rolls out, go after him. Round of applause. Chuck Clark. Round of applause. He played well, especially at the beginning of the game. Balled out at the beginning of the game.
All right, I give you that.
Nobody else. I mean, I guess Tucker and Cook, but I'm not.
Deshaun. It still was. I still saw a little bit of miscommunication in that back seven.
Yes, definitely. Chuck Clark tried to make that tackle.
Since last year, and we can't blame Marcus. We can't blame Marcus now. Marcus ain't out there on the field.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Chuck Clark all the time seems to have these situations, and we always thought it was Marcus Peters. We always thought Marcus Peters is just that type of guy where he leaves his assignments and stuff like that, and he does that. But I mean, he's like, Deshaun, you got to get over here. And maybe it was Deshaun's fault. I don't know whose fault it was. I don't know the exact play that they ran, but like there were a lot of situations where he's saying, "What you doing?" And Simi, thank you so much again for the super chat. He says Greg can't draw up passing plays. That's been a problem, and they had good concepts.
No creativity in the route tree, in the passing plays. We got too much speed to not utilize it the way it should be utilized. Honestly, we got some guys that really can show out and be some great wide receivers for this team. But with the play concept, with the passing concept that we have under G-Row, we ain't going too far.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the concepts. However, at the same time, they should have. I just don't understand not using the rollout. That should be something that Lamar does all the time. Why does Baker have success? They roll him out. They established the run, which the Ravens did early in the game. They established that run, then roll him out. That's what Baker does. All of Baker's best plays of his career are designed rollouts where he rolls out and then throws a great throw.
And hit him on the dime.
Yes. And I get they have to do it with Baker because he's a bit shorter and things like that. So, that's something that he can utilize. So, being away from the offensive line, but it just gives him a little bit more time. And with Lamar, if he's outside, oh no, a guy's coming. What does Lamar do? How many times have we seen Lamar see, oh, it's a one guy in open space? That's fine. The problem is when he's trapped in a box because the line can't block and everybody collapses in on him.
You take away from his lanes. You take away from his space to create.
Yeah. And Simi, thank you so much again for the super chat. It says this is entirely on one person, Alejandro. He was used like a sub on a 4 set.
God damn it, Simi. What's that? Oh man, I don't even know what to say about that one.
I mean, the issue is the offensive struggles could be blamed on him. Absolutely one of the reasons why the Ravens offense, yes, we're talking about G-Row and not being able to adjust for his poor play. But yes, on the offensive line, it was Alejandro Villanueva. He definitely struggled. It was a terrible game from him.
I don't even know.
But at the same time, I know Howard is probably saying something about this right now. We still get the defense was not good at all. So the offense, if you want to blame it on a player, it is Villanueva. But Mark Andrews didn't play that well. Lamar didn't play that well. A lot of guys didn't play that well. Sammy played decent. He had a drop, had a big play, kind of made up for the drop. So just a couple of different things to look at. But I'm not against this take. I just think that Greg Roman, as a coach, you have to recognize how your players are playing. And if they're in a bad situation, for example, if we're going up against the Steelers and TJ Watt's line off Villanueva and he beats him every time, maybe Greg Roman says, hey, guys, double that guy. Like, those are the adjustments that you have to make when you recognize, hey, Hollywood's getting clamped by this guy, or they're really stopping the run. Make an adjustment. That's been one of the biggest problems with the Ravens offense, is that they don't adjust. And they didn't adjust whatsoever in this game. I can't think of a single adjustment that I saw in the first half that was ridiculous. And that's one of those biggest things. And so it's so tough. It's so tough. And Simi, again, thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, we learned this from when we had Flacco. If you leave the defense out there too much, you can't expect them to play 5 quarters. That is true. That is absolutely true. One of the benefits of having the Ravens offense is the defense gets rest. They stay on the field, and then they get to blitz, and their corners are fresh. Stay on the field. And how do you stay on the field? Positive plays. Don't take sacks. Get Lamar out of the pocket. And one of my favorite play calls this game, it unfortunately didn't work that well, but it still worked to a sense, was at the end of, I want to say it was the end of half when the Ravens ended up kicking the field goal. They were like a 3rd and 4. They ran the bootleg with Lamar. And, he made the smart call. Don't throw it. Let the time run off the clock. I think this may have been the end of the game. And he got like 3 yards instead of 4. I liked that. Like that he got the bootleg going. It wasn't open. Lamar was like, you know what? I can still get 3-4 yards.
Yep.
He got close. I mean, he was reaching. He's about 1 yard away. Like he gets that 1 extra yard. Like, boom, the Ravens win that game. That was a good call. But the issue is when you call plays where you're like, oh, let's keep Lamar in the pocket on 3rd down and run a deep post.
Tell me how that's going to go.
In a game, if this was the first drive of the game, and it'd be like, okay, we haven't really seen much. Maybe the Raiders' defense hasn't been that good or something like that. But this was at a point where the Raiders' defense was collapsing on Lamar the entire time. And it was like a deep post. It's like, he doesn't have the time to throw a deep post. And that's something that we have to look out for. So very difficult to judge. But Simi says, y'all need to have a holiness. These super chats are expensive, and I got a lot to say.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much again for the super chat, Simi. Oh, man. And I see that Spooky J, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I am clueless as to why we never jammed Waller. We talked about that earlier. We jammed him at the beginning, and that's when he was getting flustered. He was getting pushed off of his route. Pernell McPhee seemed to be that guy that they were saying, hey, hit him every single time. And it worked. We saw him drop a lot of passes. We saw guys were able to catch up to him on his route because he was off his timing. We didn't do that towards the end of the game, and I'm very confused as to why. Do you have any answers, Joshua?
I don't know, man. I mean, we've been talking about it. Week 1, the Titans was taking over. We knew we was going against the number 2 at best tight end in the NFL. Why not play him? Why not play him physical? You know what I'm saying? When we playing this dude as a wide receiver, I don't know. At this point, I'm ready to make Miles Boykin a tight end and see what we can do with him when he gets back. Because Darren Waller can do all this, I know damn sure we can get this boy right and finally make him a tight end and have him have an actual career in the NFL.
Malik Harrison high-fived Waller. I'm not that against that. I mean, like, was it if it's after the game, then it's like fine. Guys pick up other guys and stuff like that. If you have a good play, game can recognize game. I'm not
Yeah,
that.
that's just a respect. Come on now.
Yeah.
Kobe and Jordan. That was respect for every time they matched up.
Brandon Stevens definitely looked like a rookie. Yeah, he looked like a guy that.
Oh yeah, they got his number for sure, and he was hurt. He was hurt a couple times.
Yeah,
like I said before, man. Hopefully he doesn't get discouraged. If anything, I hope he's learned from it and gets better from it.
Oh yeah, and why didn't we have Lamar run more? I believe it's because the Ravens weren't confident in their read option game, and because of the lack of experience Lamar has. Because the read option, while it looks easy, it is a very difficult play to pull off. And when you don't have reps with the running backs, it makes it incredibly difficult. We saw the fumble early in the game between Lamar and Tyson because it's just very tough. So I think they saw that and they were like, you know what? We don't have enough experience. And that's when the Ravens offense really started to flutter, was when they couldn't run the read option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is the Ravens offense. That is the Ravens offense right there. So, like, while this game looks that bad, not having the read option, it doesn't make it as bad. Like in 3-4 weeks, this offense is going to be drastically different than the offense that we've seen tonight. Next week probably will be similar. The Chiefs game might be a very long game. And that sucks, but it's just one of those situations where we have to look at it and say, you know what? When it counts, when we start, we have to, hit this season stride. Luckily, we play the Lions week 3. And then week 4, I'm fully planning on going to Denver. So hopefully I will see some of y'all in Denver in week 4. But it's, not having that read option is that takes away the staple of the Ravens offense. I mean, that is their best asset, is the read option. Yeah. And if they don't have that, what is, like, Greg Roman, yeah, he can design a good rushing attack, but it's not going to work because his rushing attacks, think about it, who have been his quarterbacks when he's had great rushing attacks? Oh, Kaepernick, great runner of the football. And Tyrod, another great runner of the football. So without that, Greg Roman offense, so, like, yes, we have to give that to him. It will come eventually. We just have to wait for the Ravens to get that chemistry. Just like the Titans are going to be fine. They got blown out by the Cardinals. Tannehill and Julio were not in the same sync. They weren't. Not at all. But it'll be there. Bateman will be there. The offensive line hasn't played together at all. So we just have to make sure that we look at that and think about how different this team can be in a couple of weeks. Spooky J says, hold on, I saw Simi put something in the chat and I want to answer it, and I'm trying to find where it was. Let's see here. Don't worry, Simi, I'm looking for it. Wait, this wasn't the one. Oh, here it is. Simi says, I ain't going to super chat this, but why is Wink blitzing Marlon? You super chatted enough, Simi. You're good. Don't worry. But why is Wink blitzing Marlon? Now, does that make sense? I'm not against blitzing Marlon when we have Marcus Peters, when we have Jimmy Smith. But when we blitz Marlon and that leaves Tavon, Anthony Averett, and Chris Westry out.
Yeah, we can't do that, man. Come on now.
No, just blitz the linebackers.
I'd rather take Brandon Stevens on the blitz, honestly, if we're going to bring in the corner blitz.
Yeah. Brandon Stevens could be solid on a blitz. I like that. And Patrick Queen is a phenomenal blitzer. All All right.
Like,
I don't
yes,
even know. I can't even tell. Is that a super chat? I think it's a super chat. Thank you. Oh gosh. Kaisitu Alex. For I think that's a super chat. Didn't say a message though. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Simi, thank you so much again for another super chat. Man, thank you so much, Simi. Man, you
I
the
need a
real MVP.
job. You working there, Sammy? Come on now. Come on.
He says, if we don't address the running game, and we clearly didn't, why, I repeat, are we not spreading the field to give Lamar more lanes to run? Yeah, that's something that I was very intrigued by, was how often guys like Patrick Ricard were still out on the field when we weren't able to run read option. Patrick Ricard, if we're running the football, is a great guy to have out there. But if we can't run because we can't run read option, put in the 3-4 wide receiver sets on first down, second down, because that's when Lamar sees the space. That is a great point to bring up, Simi. Thank you, because we have not talked about that at all. What do you think about this, Joshua?
With the running game?
Yeah.
You talking about an undrafted free agent that's now number one running back that knows the playbook a little better than anybody that they done brought in. And then on top of that, you got two, three Pro Bowlers in house that's right behind. I said before the show, I said before the game, the pressure is on. The pressure is on Williams. You know, for him, it's up to him to lose the job. But you can't keep on taking this young man out when he has momentum. He's running hard. He's hitting the holes. Man. So, and then you kept on giving his carries to Latavius. And honestly, yeah, getting Latavius out there, it did some help a little bit, but not as much. I feel like if anything, that shot more of Tyshawn's confidence. So I don't know what we're gonna do as far as the running game. I mean, that's been our bread and butter. That's been our bread and butter for so many years. So if they try to go away from it, which they probably will Sunday night, they're probably gonna try to make it a pass happy Sunday night game.
Sly, I disagree with you here just because this is not the Ravens team that we're going to be seeing. This is a team that is, think about the differences in this offense. Well, wide receiver 2 is no longer Willie Snead. Wide receiver 3 is no longer Miles Boykin. Tight end 2 is different. Tight end 3 is different. We don't even have Nick Boyle. Nick Boyle, a phenomenal blocking tight end. We're not using the read option. This team will be so different when we hit week 5, week 6, week 7. It is going to get better throughout the season. The Ravens have to get used to running that football. The Ravens have to get used to doing a lot of things. So I don't count out the Ravens yet. It will start out sloppy. The Chiefs game will be a long game because the Ravens will most likely not have that chemistry with the read option yet. Nick Boyle, I don't think will be back. And so the Ravens aren't going to be able to run the ball nearly as well as they have in recent years. But once we hit that bye week, the read option is going to be completely back. I guarantee it. They will have that chemistry down because Tyson Williams, if you guys saw The Wired, when they're in that Washington, I mean, think about it. When was the last time Tyson Williams played a game? Against the Washington football team in preseason, where he didn't receive a snap from Lamar. John Harbaugh on the sideline after JK goes down. You know what he does? He goes up to Tyson and he says, you know what, man? You're going to be a bigger part of this offense. Like, this is all you. You got to go. What is it? 3 days later, 4 days later, Gus Edwards goes down and it's like, you're the lead back. You need to do this. And then, so they don't have any of that chemistry. So don't worry. It's going to start rough, but it is a team that will try and pick up steam. The Ravens have started rough in recent years. And I think this will be the biggest year for difference of how the team plays, because this team can't run the read option, which is the staple of their offense. That's like telling the Titans, I'm sorry, but you can't run Derrick Henry up the middle. It's just not allowed. The Titans' offense is going to be a lot worse. The Ravens staple, giving that ball. Telling the Panthers and saying, I'm sorry, but Christian McCaffrey can't catch anymore. This is going to really hurt the Panthers offense. So those are the biggest things. Tom Brady, I'm sorry, you can't make audibles. If you think about it, the biggest part of all these offenses, they're going to struggle. And thank you so much, Howard, for the $5 super chat, as well as the $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Howard. Thank you so much. If you guys don't know, Howard was on the first ever Live with the Viewers, which was a very fun show that we did. So thank you so much. Sis, focus on holding leads. Absolutely. And you commented that. He commented that after the pregame stream. He commented that on the stream video. Can the Ravens hold the lead? Guess not. Because they couldn't run. If you can't run and you're the Baltimore Ravens,
right,
it's going to be a very tough game. And when I recognized the Ravens aren't running the football, I wasn't mad at Giro for that. I'm not mad at Giro for not calling read options and stuff. I think he just that was a good recognition that he made, though. Just like, hey, you know what? Running that read option, which is the biggest part of our entire offense, is the threat of Lamar running. We don't, like, our backs can't do it. They just don't have the chemistry yet. I think that was a decent call. I would have loved to see it a little bit, but it's just, you don't want to risk fumbling and everything like that. So without the run game, the Ravens will never be able to hold a lead.
Listen, like I said, I'd rather it be a first rough half of the season than we steamrolling all the way into the playoffs, man. It's still opportunity for us to win our games. And I mean, it's still some chemistry being built, still some pieces, coming back from injury. So, I'm upset as hell, but I'm still hopeful for this team, man. Now, I honestly, I'm taking this Chiefs game with a grain of salt. I would love for us to win, but if they don't play Ravens football, which they not going to do, we know how this game going to go. I don't want to see my quarterback going for a throwing contest, but one of the best passes in the league. Run the ball down their throat. Make them stop you. You don't have to use the RPO. Just use basic I formation. Do whatever. Run the ball. Play action. Get your guys open. Let the run set your offense up, and defense actually get some pass rush on Pat Mahomes and sack him. And if you can't sack him, hit him after he throw the damn ball. You hit him hard enough, he ain't gonna want to keep on throwing no more or keep on running out the pocket. But that's my take. That's my take for right now.
Absolutely. Simi, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Simi just got paid this week.
There's a chance that Simi is more of a legend of this channel now than Simi Fehoko. Just saying. There's a chance.
Ooh.
He
has
caught up. He's caught up to Simi Fehoko. A spade has to be called a spade. Here they are professional running backs, and it's not hard to say hit the A gap or run behind Stanley, lose the fancy stuff. We got into a fight with the Raiders, man. That is a very fair point.
Okay.
It felt like it's just this. See, what I would have loved to see, because I think you're right. I think the Ravens could have done a better job of calling designed Lamar Jackson runs, run like QB power, QB wrap and things like that, where it's a play action Lamar designed run. So it gives the effect that it's like, oh, Lamar's still running on these handoffs. And so Lamar always just be like, you know what, you're going to hand the ball off, but look like it's a read option to just try and get that defense off. Don't call the runs where he has to turn around, but at least give a small appearance, because that'll give that edge defender a half a second delay. Because he goes, is Lamar keeping that? There was no threat of Lamar keeping any of the runs. And if Lamar has that threat, all of a sudden we start seeing those bigger runs. What happened on that 4th and 1 run? They were scared of Lamar. They were scared of Lamar because Lamar Jackson has had plenty of 4th and 1 rushing touchdowns from long yards out, because they go, oh no. They're typically afraid because they put Gus in the backfield and they're like, oh no, Gus. They're going to give it to Gus. If he gets tackled 1 yard behind the line, he's going to pound forward, fall forward. So they focus on Gus. Lamar takes it. He goes. This time it was, oh no, Lamar. could juke everybody out of their shoes. They take Lamar, Tyson up the middle, boom.
Yep.
35 yards, I want to say it was, to the house. Give the element of fear. There was no element of fear in the run game. That's why it wasn't working. The offensive line wasn't good enough to stand alone and say, like, hey, you know what? Let's just run it behind these guys. And Greg Roman's scheme isn't designed to do that. Sure, he has situations where he says, you know what? I form Gus Edwards up the middle. But the Ravens, the staple of their offense is read option first down. Oh, it's 2nd and 2, read option. It's 3rd and 4, read option. Like, so in these situations, it's just so prevalent that we weren't able to see that. And that's what's hurting this team, is just the inability to go out there and make those types of plays, because they just don't have the chemistry. And without chemistry, it's very difficult to do what the Ravens try and do. You got to be a smart football player to play for Baltimore.
This is facts. This is definitely facts, man.
Shout out to Gary Carpenter. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says Villanueva was completely lost.
You got to work. You got to work, man. We know that. We've seen it. Watch the same game you did, Gary. Ain't too much to say that age showed tonight.
Absolutely. And Simi says, make them respect the run. No, make them expect the run and then give it to Marquise. Yes. Yes. I was waiting all game for the play action, deep route to Marquise.
Don't that usually happen since we done drafted him? I thought I was ready for that, honestly. I was ready for the big play with, 5 and 8.
Absolutely. It's just one of those situations where we see it and we go, why is he not utilized in that run game? Or I will say, I loved the jet pass to him. That was awesome. I loved that. Get him the ball in space. Yeah. The Ravens did that early in 2019, if you guys remember, like against the Cardinals. They were like, give him the bubble screen. Give him that stuff. Boom. That's good. But when you start saying, he ran a nice crossing route, but the only time I can remember a deep post from him was on like 3rd and short with the pocket collapsing. And it was like, there was no way that was even going to work. So that was unfortunate, but he played well. So, I just wish that the Ravens would give him more opportunities to at least do something. And shout out to, I'm going to say Occam's Ox. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, can we just appreciate the golden industrial grade meat grinder that is the AFC North? Would you want to follow any other division? A Steelers fan. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a tough division. This is the toughest division, the hardest hitting division, the fieriest division in the NFL.
Real man division. Come on now.
And I hope we start to see more of those 2008 Ravens Steelers, the 2010, the big time rivalries where it was like you go out there and you try and, absolutely knock everybody out. So, absolutely. I love watching AFC North games, and it's very tough, but
I did love the fact that they was out there hitting. Them hits. Unfortunately, we didn't draw the ball out enough, but it's good to see, we was trying to get out there and play aggressive, just not aggressive enough to, secure the win.
100%. And Howard, thank you so much for the super chat. Have a good night. Have a great night, Howard. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Unfortunately, the game did not go as what we hoped, but we got to have faith. We got to move on. We got to find something that works. Hopefully we can get the read option game going at some point, but it just wasn't a part of the offense at all. So
right.
Couple of weeks and hopefully it starts working out. Glides, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you everybody so much for the super chats. It's been crazy. Don't understand how we have the fastest quarterback in the league and didn't run one design run to him.
Honestly, right now, with this being contract year, if he didn't want to run, I don't blame him. Me personally, I already said, I would want to dial back on the design runs for him.
Let's be real, Joshua. If Lamar Jackson ran and tore his ACL, the Ravens are still giving him a max contract in the offseason. He's still making $45 million. It's not something where he's like, oh, I can't get hurt.
No, I mean, of course, I hear all that, but he doesn't want to keep on doing that. You can tell. I mean, by some of the play calling, he's keep on talking about it. Like he wants to be, a passer in this league. I say this a million times. I support that. I'm all behind that, but I don't agree with staying in the pocket all the time. I do agree, if it breaks down, make your move, but when you have those run design plays for Lamar, y'all do have to understand he makes himself a eligible, running back at that point. Everybody, we defend him, we call him a QB, but everybody around the league, oh yeah, that's the best running back. Taking snaps. So I mean, he just want to step his game up in a different sense, in my opinion, when it comes to those design runs. I feel like he want to utilize more of the running backs, because if J.K. Dobbins did not get hurt, J.K. would have been more of that feature back that would have got more touches, and I think they wouldn't. People wouldn't be so keen on Lamar running. It would have been more like, all right, we got to respect J.K. and Gus more. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and Simi, thank you so much again for the super chat, saying hopefully next week someone will give Taking Young, I'm assuming that's Tavon Young, the defensive playbook so he's not so confused since it was his first day on the team. Yeah, he definitely struggled. It's the thing with Tavon, I loved how everyone was hyping him up. Everybody thought he had that pick. Fortunately, it hit the ground. Luckily, it was third and whatever, so they punted the ball anyway. But it is his first game back. The guys coming back from injuries, I'm less worried about because it takes some time. The worst one was the PI on that deep throw. Tough call. Yeah. I think you could have made that call. I wish they gave more angles. Obviously, there was slight contact, but sometimes they let them play, sometimes they don't. They didn't really want a lot of stuff to go on. So
yeah, the penalty calls were piss poor on both sides of the ball, for both teams. I can say that for sure.
Yeah, so that's something that we gotta hopefully hope that he steps up. But I mean, with just this secondary overall, it's just a lot of question marks. And hopefully Jimmy Smith can come back. I was really disappointed when I saw that he was when he was the guy that was inactive. I was literally like, oh, because I was hoping it was like, oh, Averett and Smith, decent, but then it became Westry and Averett, and that's a lot of inexperience.
Yeah.
Overall, so it's very tough. Let's see here. The real question I have, so a Raven down south says he knew it wasn't a pick, but acted like he did. I didn't like that. The real question was, did Marlon get an interception? Because I saw a lot of people saying Marlon picked it off when he got that spot on Waller because it didn't touch the ground. I don't know. I did not see it. I was not paying attention to that at all. Supposedly, Marlon had an interception. Similar to the way that Tyreek Hill, I can't remember the exact game, where like he fell back and was like bobbling the ball, catches it, stands up and runs back to the sideline, and they didn't challenge it. They didn't get the touchdown, but he scored a touchdown, just had no idea that the ball just bounced into his arms when he was on the ground. Did he get the pick? The one question I have, though, and I saw a lot of people complaining about that, was that there might have been pass interference on Marlon on that play. So if they replayed it and showed, hey, he got that pick, they might have also called a pass interference on Marlon Humphrey. and taken away the interception and given them the first down. So tough one. And I see Patrick Silverman's in the chat. We sad, man. We sad, but we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. The longer the stream's gone on, I'm more and more confident for the rest of the season. Just seeing all of your guys' takes, just talking through it and figuring out exactly what went wrong.
It's gonna be a good season. I'm glad y'all watched the games. I'm glad y'all tuning in. We love it, man.
Delano is absolutely right. It's just week 1. We're working on building up that chemistry. When they get that chemistry, when they start running those read options again, when they start getting like Patrick Silverman says, when they start getting Nick Boyle back, when they can start running read option and get Nick Boyle back, this is a different team.
Yeah,
this is a very different team. Luis, we played with 4 linemen.
That's facts. I'll give you that. Somebody said we should have a 2 QB set.
You mean when we had 2 14-point leads against the Patriots in that game? I remember that one. I remember Edelman throwing a touchdown. Rough game. I'm getting off that comment. Who's writing the Ravens off? I think a lot of people are writing the Ravens off. You watch them in prime time.
And then wait till tomorrow morning. Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
The issue is, oh, no.
And Lamar's
playing in prime time.
And Lamar's going to get hell all week, especially since he playing against Patty, too. Oh, yeah. Everybody writing us off. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, all of them. Honestly, I love it. Give us the underdog story. Let us go back to being under the radar and let us do our thing. I feel like we didn't got too much attention and we not playing to our full potential.
I think one of the biggest things that we have to think about, the Ravens are going to be written off after next week because they're not going to be able to run the read option very properly. And they're going to see that team and be like, oh, no, this isn't it. So we started 2 weeks in a row in primetime, Sunday night and Monday Night Football. But then week 5, I think it's going to be a different team. I think we'll have a little bit of that read option stuff going. I think the chemistry will be there. It'll be a different offense. And maybe then they'll be like, oh, they kind of figured it out. And even if they don't figure it out then, even if they lose that game, we still got 2 more primetime games where they realize, hey.
Does Booger McFarland still does he still do primetime games? Or
no, I know he's an announcer. He's not I don't even think he's an announcer. I think he's an analyst on something. Some ESPN show.
Because I cannot stand Booger McFarland in primetime anything. For real, man.
Yeah, that's facts. Glides, thank you so much for the super chat. Say having Huntley and Lamar back in the pistol feels like it could be very dangerous.
No.
I'm just saying, but they might have chemistry.
I mean, that's cool.
That's probably the best chemistry that the Ravens have that could be in the backfield together. I mean, the Ravens did it with RG3. I liked the Heisman package that they came out with. I don't think they do it and be like, oh, yeah, we got to run. But, like, it could be something where they put him out at wide receiver or something like that. The way that they used to put Lamar Jackson out at wide receiver, when Flacco was the starting quarterback. And he wouldn't run a route or anything, but they had to think, is Lamar getting the ball this play? Just puts a little bit more concern in the defense. You don't have to use him and be like, oh, yeah, we need to design a Huntley deep ball off of a Lamar pitch.
Body, though, in my opinion, that's a wasted offensive weapon. If we don't, if we just have him standing around.
Could he be a decoy, though? I feel like he could be a decent decoy.
At this point, he has to be like a Jarvis Landry. I'm sorry. He has to be like a Jarvis Landry. He has to be, someone that can really make something happen. And honestly, a Jarvis Landry will actually fit in this offense. But we don't have any creativity from our offensive coordinator.
That's fair, I think. Look at this. Patrick Silverman agrees with Joshua.
God damn. Today was a good day. I ain't hit a triple double.
I don't know if y'all can hear that, but they be having a party upstairs. Or my roommates be having a party upstairs. Let's see. I'm assuming this means OTs. Probably steal some offensive tackles from some teams. I don't think so. Teams don't want to give up offensive tackles.
Not at all. And I think we was going to go after the one young guy from Tennessee, but he just kept on. He just keeps on messing up. So
yeah,
we don't really want to take no problem childs.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Hopefully, Villanueva was rusty first time on the right side. Otherwise, it's a very difficult ask. The Ravens would just have to start looking at the bootleg, have to start looking at getting Lamar outside.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you can switch Stanley and put him on the right side if the defensive lineman's playing on that side. No, the best defensive lineman is lining up opposite of Stanley. I mean, not Stanley, Villanueva. And there's nothing the Ravens can do about that.
So Pat say give him a chance. So Pat, if you're the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, you're not gonna put Jones on Villanueva? I'm just asking. Just doing some research. Because I can't give him to me after this. I can't give him to me more chances. You're gonna get my franchise QB hurt if he keeps on playing this type of style this style of offense, man. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
All right, I can respect that response. I can respect every response. Talking about Nick Boyle coming back.
Yeah, Nick Boyle's huge. I wasn't even thinking about it in the game, but that would help the run game and obviously the read option. The read option and Nick Boyle transforms this team into a meh rushing attack into the greatest rushing attack the NFL has ever seen. Like the most yards in a single season is held by the Baltimore Ravens because they had Nick Boyle and they had the read option.
Yep.
And they had Lamar Jackson. That's all you need. All you need. 200 rushing yards a game. The Ravens ran the ball 34 times for 189 yards. Most of that was Lamar Jackson on non-designed runs, so it wasn't like it was, oh yeah, Lamar's taking off. It was I don't know if a single Lamar Jackson designed run was called, other than maybe like when he had the bootleg at the end of the game, and they probably said don't throw the ball unless they're wide open, otherwise run and try and get a couple yards. But
yeah, man.
I don't know. All right, guys, I think this is probably a good time. It is like, what time is it in Baltimore? 1:17 in Baltimore right now. It is late. So if anybody has any more questions, we may be able to answer like one, maybe two more. We will see. Otherwise, we'll be trying to go live after every game and stuff like that. So, and Jones and Altitude brings up Boyle's gotten good at the clutch catches. That is true. Boyle has sure hands when it comes down to the.
He
damn
sure catch with his body, but he catch the ball. He right about that. That's for sure, man.
Chowder asks, who is Max Crosby? Max Crosby has 19 sacks since 2019. He is a good pass rusher. He led all rookies that year in getting sacks. And if you didn't know, that was the draft class with Nick Bosa. So, like, he is a guy that's, like, good. He ain't no scrub or anything like that. He's a good pass rusher. And maybe we saw he took that next step. Maybe we see in a couple weeks, wow, Max Crosby's just a monster. And he's a very good pass rusher. And, like, Villanueva's actually solid. There's a chance. I mean, a third year could have made that big jump. We don't know. Luis asks, when is the next live with the viewers? I don't know. We'll have to figure out a good time to do that. Obviously we'll try and go live for the game. So maybe we'll try and do something kind of midweek or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
Absolutely.
We definitely want to keep doing them. They're a lot of fun, but we just got to find a good good time and day and stuff like that where it works. But all right, guys, I think that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for joining the stream. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed. If you're not subscribed and you're in the stream, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We go live before and after every single Ravens game and also come out with Ravens content every single day. Unless it's Sunday and the Ravens aren't playing, because ain't nobody going to be watching no videos on Sunday if the Ravens I am watching football all day. I'm sorry. Unless like major Ravens news happens or something like that. I'll put it out. But overall, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll see all of you again next time.